During my research for my rabbinic dissertation, which was on ethics on social media communication, I came across with a beautiful parable. God is like an internet. It is something you cannot see. Potentially, it has a power to destroy and cause serious harm to individuals and society, but also it has a power to unite people and bring good to the world. After all, there are lots of great videos on of cats and dogs in it. It simply cannot come from a wrong source. When I told this parable to a friend of mine, who is also a rabbi, he said, well, it can't be true, because the internet is something which exists, but God isn't real. Like it is the case of many moments of learning and educational revelation, I was surprised and shocked to hear such a statement from a rabbi. How can you be a Jew and not have a faith in God? Can you be a rabbi and not to believe in God? I have been asking myself these questions for years since that day. Some Jewish thinkers argue that Judaism prioritizes deed over creed, actions over beliefs. On the one hand, a religion without the requirement to believe in God may seem strange to many people. The word God appears in the prayer book and in the Torah so many times that it makes difficult to reconcile with the fact that one can ignore God and have integrity during the synagogue services. On the other hand, Judaism is more than just a set of beliefs and doctrines. Also, the way how God is presented in many books of the Hebrew Bible and legends makes it hard to believe in such God. God as a jealous anthropomorphic being who punishes unfaithful and disloyal people and rewards righteous is difficult to believe in. We know that it is not always the case in the real world. We know that however much we want it, the world is not always fair and just. We know that happy ends are not always how stories end in the real life. Sometimes it seems that Judaism exists in a bubble and requires to believe in utopian world. Some of the stories we tell each other seem to be too idealistic and far from reality. This week's Torah portion, however, is an example of a different story in the Torah. At the end of this week's Torah portion, Moses comes down from the Mount Sinai holding the 2 tablets with the 10 commandments, which God just gave to the Jewish people through Moses. At that moment, as he sees people worshiping an idol, the golden calf, which they made when Moses was away, his utopian view on about the new established people collapses. Together with this utopia, Moses collapses and Moses breaks the tablets, the symbol of God's word and presence. Moses turned and went down from the mountain, bearing the 2 tablets of the pact, tablets inscribed on both their surfaces. They were inscribed on the one side and on the other. The tablets were God's work, and the writing was God's writing, incised upon the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, "There is a cry of war in the camp." But he answered, "It is not the sound of the tune of triumph or the sound of the tune of defeat. It is the sound of song that I hear." As soon as Moses came near the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, he became enraged, and he hurled the tablets from his hand and shattered them at the foot of the mountain. Later, when Moses destroyed the golden calf, God instructs him to make 2 more tablets, like the first ones, and to come back to the mountain and receive commandments again. Talmudic rabbis were intrigued by this story and wondered what happened to the broken set of tablets. They insisted that later, when the new set of tablets was ready and placed in the ark, the broken pieces of the first set were placed in the ark too. The Talmudic legend also records a great Talmudic sage Reish Lakish hearing about this and saying, "There are times when the suppression of the Torah may be the very foundation of the Torah." Furthermore, Reish Lakish offers the interpretation that God said to Moses, "You did well to break the tablets. Yishar koach sheshibarta." The great French medieval commentator Rashi also thinks that God wasn't angry with Moses when he broke the tablets. Eliyahu de Vidash, a Kabbalistic teacher and rabbi who lived in Tzfat in the 16th century, comes with a metaphorical understanding of the breaking of the tablets. He writes, "The human heart is like the ark. Thus a person's heart must be full of Torah, but simultaneously it must be broken. Only thus can it serve as a home for the divine presence, in Hebrew Shechina, for she only dwells in broken vessels." In other words, the brokenness of this world is a necessary requirement for divine presence. Only when we accept that the world is full of imperfections, we leave a room for deep meaning and spirituality in our lives. Only when we question and challenge religion and God, it becomes real and spiritual. Only when we have doubts and look at religion critically, it becomes true and genuine. The first tablets are broken, but that is not the end of the story. They are a crucial part of the path towards the creation of second tablets, the second chance we are given as humanity. Rabbi Mishael Zion writes, "There is no such thing as unbroken faith. Only by grasping the brokenness only by grasping the brokenness, the new tablets can be achieved. Tikkun, the path for the world to be repaired and healed, requires breakage. The broken dream, the frustration after failure is the key which opens the gates to the better world." Leonard Cohen, in his great song anthem, chants, "Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." There are many examples of brokenness in this world. Judaism teaches us to accept it and use it as an opportunity and inspiration to create a second chance, and if necessary, the third, the fourth, to try again and again until it works. Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek says that we live in the age when for the first time in human history we do not believe in utopia. We do not believe that the ideal world can be achieved in reality. This is the first time in human history when we realize our brokenness, inadequacy, and limitation. This is the best and the most healthy relationship with the world. After the past year, we all became a bit broken. We all experienced a rapid change and had to adjust to the new way of life. Many of us put life on pause. waiting for the world to return from its broken state. Now, when the hope of the end of this crisis is in the horizon, let us not forget and ignore the brokenness which the last year have given us. Maybe God shouldn't be ideal. Maybe God isn't the internet. Maybe there are many things around us that can become a source of many frustrations, things like internet. But let us remember that such places have a few videos of funny cats and dogs too. Let us embrace the brokenness and imperfection of our world and remember that there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Shabbat Shalom.